Okay,
Mm.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good evening to Mr. Ali Sharimi. And thank you. I would like to say to you for taking the time to be here today. I really appreciate your willingness to participate in this interview. So before we start, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Arnofal Ali Sharimi. I am a student currently studying Bachelor in Accounting in Multimedia University. And this interview is being conducted as part of my principal fundamental of management subject. Okay, so before we start with the interview questions, Mr. Ali, can you introduce a bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Adli Sharmi bin Mohammed from the Royal Malaysian Air Force. I'm currently serving as the Senior Design Engineer at the Royal Malaysian Air Force Engineering Services Center as the head of armament in the design center. So I've been in the service for more than 25 years. And this is my first appointment as the senior design engineer. Previously, I was the design engineer and maintenance engineer in various squadrons and units in the Royal Malaysian Air Force.
Thank you. Okay, so let's start with the interview question. So my first question to you is, could you share a little bit about your business, your role here, and who your main customers are?
All right. In principle, we provide engineering and design services focusing on aircraft modification, system integration, and technical support for the Royal Malaysian Air Force aircraft platforms. Our work ensures that modification are airworthy, compliant to the military innovation standards, and aligned with operational requirements. We support both in-service sustainment and capability enhancement program across fixed wings and rotary platforms of the Royal Malaysian Air Force. So my role in this organization is the as the senior design engineer, responsible for engineering modifications and technical assessments. This include development, analysis, configuration control, and technical documentation in support of RMF aircraft upgrades. I also work closely with operators, maintenance, and authorities to ensure changes are safe, effective, and operationally viable. Our main customer, as I said, are the Royal Malaysian Air Force itself, along with the Ministry of Defence and other defence contractors. These customers typically engage us in specialized military aviation engineering programs.
Okay, so, okay, thank you for the first question. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Among your daily activities, which business process do you feel is the most important and what makes it so important to you?
Among my daily activities, this includes engineering change and design assurance process. So, in my point of view, these are the two the main importance in my particular business. Because this requirement defines the design, substantiation, approval, and configuration control. And another thing is this process is critical because it directly protects airworthiness, flight safety, and operational readiness. Any aircraft modification, whether how small or big, can have system implication, a wide system implication, if it is not properly assessed, documented, and approved. Specifically, this process is important because it ensures flight safety, maintains airworthiness, and compliance. It also controls configuration and reduce risk, supports operational effectiveness, and lastly, provide traceability and accountability.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so my next question is, what are the main goals or targets that you are focusing on for this month or quarter, and how do you decide what to prioritize first?
Okay, for this month or quarter, my main goal is to focus on delivering approved engineering outputs while maintaining airworthiness and operational timelines. Specifically, number one, the close out priority modification packages. That is we finalize the design reviews and approval for high priority aircraft modification, especially those related to operational readiness or aircraft safety. And secondly, we support time critical operation requirements. That is to provide engineering support for urgent or aircraft on ground related changes. This is by ensuring safe, compliant solutions delivered without unnecessary delays. How we prioritize things. I would say that priorities are set to using a risk and impact based approach. That is to say that the key factors are number one, flight safety. Secondly, operational readiness and impact. And lastly, regulatory approval deadlines. That is for certification and audits approvals.
Okay. So interesting. Okay. So moving on. My fifth question to you. Fourth question to you is: how do you normally plan your team, time, and budget to make sure this process runs smoothly?
Well, I plan the team, time, and budget using a structured risk-based engineering management approach. That is to but in that process, we try to maintain flexibility throughout the process. Number one, we conduct team planning. I start by matching skills to tasks critically rather than just distributing workload evenly. Secondly, is through time planning. Time planning is driven by engineering logic and risk, but not just candidates. I would break them into engineering phases. I would focus on the critical path first, and lastly, build in contingency and align with the aircraft ability. As far as budget planning is concerned, it is based on managed to protect safety critical work while controlling the cost. That means I have to develop initial estimate based on engineering hours, supports, testing, and documentation. So more budget is allocated for high risk areas such as high impact projects where late surprises are very costly. And how do we keep the process running smoothly? So to keep everything running smoothly, I will rely on regular technical reviews, progress checks, clear communication and escalation path, early detection of risks and blockers, and lastly, we would conduct strict configuration and document control.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So my fifth question is: who are the people involved in this process, and how are responsibilities usually shared amongst them?
Well, in engineering process or design, it involves multiple disciplinary team, combining technical, operational, and governance or management teams. First, the design engineering team. It includes the design engineers, senior design engineers. Basically, they come from avionics, structures, mechanicals, and armament background. They're responsible for design, development, analysis, and technical documentation. Second team would be the airworthiness certification, that is the military airworthiness authorities that will ensure the modification meets military standard and airworthiness requirement. The third teams would be the aircraft operation and maintenance. This will include the people in the squadrons and the people that involved directly with the aircraft maintenance and operation. Fourthly would be the program managers. They will come from the Air Force headquarters. And lastly, the external stakeholders such as the MINDEF, your defense contractors, and other defense or other test and evaluation department. How we keep responsibilities shared? I would say that responsibilities are technically shared using clear ownership and defined interfaces, not overlapping. So each modification normally has a single technical owner, which define reviewers, approvers to ensure accountability and independence. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, but before that, just for clarification,
Mm.
is MINDEF the short form terms for Ministry of Defense?
Yeah, sure. Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so moving on to my sixth question. How do you make sure everyone stays coordinated and that work is handed over smoothly over one person or team to another?
We rely on a mixed structure of communication and discipline documentation rather than just informal handovers. So there should be number one, a clear communication. So in order to do that, we conduct regular coordination meetings where we have a focused technical discussion, and lastly, clear escalation of path so that we can um, tackle any urgent issues. Um, Secondly, we conduct a standardized documentation so that everyone will have a clear and common documentation or technical packages. Thirdly is to define ownership and interfaces. Means that every modification has a single technical owner that is responsible for the continuity of the program, and we conduct formal handovers so that the information is given accordingly and not left out. We use proper checklist and configuration control, and lastly, we have a close engagement with operators and maintenance personnel. Yep.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, so now I would like to ask about your leader aspect in your career. So the question is, during busy or stressful periods, how do you usually encourage or support your team?
During high periods, I would focus on clarity, prioritization, and morale while protecting safety and quality. How I do this is number one, to bring clarity and focus. I would reconfirm priorities, especially when it's safety related or safety critical issues. So the team need to know what exactly to focus on. Secondly, would be to shield the team from unnecessary pressure. I mean, there will be a lot of pressure, so you have to manage them accordingly. Third is to stay visible and available. I maintain regular check-in, so so that the people know I'm around and they can rely on me. Fourthly, I would encourage teamwork and mutual support. I would promote knowledge sharing and peer support, especially when specialist expertise is stretched. Number five, I would recognize effort and progress. I would acknowledge milestone achieved, even small ones, to maintain motivation. And lastly, I will lead by example. I will stay engaged in the technical work whenever needed, and so that the pressure is shared and not pushed downward. Yeah.
Okay, so perfect. So now for the controlling aspect of your career. Okay, so my question is, how do you usually check whether this process is performing well or meeting expectations?
Um, I assess performance using a combination of leading indicators, outcome measures, and feedback loops rather than just relying on schedule alone. Number one is the safety and airworthiness indicators. This is the primary measures. This is consistently protects. This is essential to protect airworthiness and safety regulation. If safety or compliance is compromised, the process is not performing, regardless how fast it is conducted. Secondly, would be delivery and timelines. I would track whether the outputs are delivered when needed for operation, because delay would cause unnecessary costs and usually indicate upstream or process issues. Third would be the quality of engineering output. I would look closely at first pass quality, such as number of design reviews or rejection, amount of rework, and lastly, clarity and competentness of drawings, analysis, and analysis basically. Because a well-performing process produces clear, consistent output with fewer iterations. Number four would be management of risk and issue management. I would check whether the risks are being identified and managed properly. Number fifth would be feedback from the stock stakeholders. I would seek feedback from operators, maintenance, and any airworthiness authorities to see if they have a good feedback or not, and will conduct accordingly to their responses. And lastly, would be team sustainability. We'll also watch the human side of the performance, that is to manage the team workload and not to over reliance on a single individuals. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so for my next question is, could you share an example of a recent challenge or issue that occurred in this process, and what do you think caused it?
A recent challenge that I face is the avionics modification, which is in agent modifications, where evolving requirements and late discovered integration issues were has led to rework during approval. So this has caused time pressure, incomplete early requirements, and legacy platform complexity. Anyhow, the key lessons that we got are the need for stronger early engagement. I mean, we have to start early and engage the stakeholders and other authorities or operators early, and conduct risk assessment even under operational urgency. So those are the key takeouts.
Okay. So for our last question for tonight, so from your experience, key, what 3 to 4 key indicators do you think managers should monitor closely, and what would you usually do if performance starts to drop?
Okay. From my experience, managers should focus on number one, small number of high impact indicators, um, rather than to focus on too much metrics. Managers should closely monitor safety findings, reward rates, critical path, and teamwork load sustainability. And secondly, safety is primary indicator. Any degradation of safety means the process is failing. Another one is high rework usually indicates weak early requirements, poor interface understanding, or rush analysis. Thirdly would be the schedule adherence on a critical path item directly affects the aircraft ability and operational readiness. Lastly, I would say is the team workload sustainability. This is essential because burnout increases the risk of errors, knowledge loss, and long-term capability degradation. If performance drops, I would focus on early root cause analysis, risk representation, and um, I would say uh, and and realistic resource or schedule adjustment. Yes.
Mm, Okay. So is that all? Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. So that brings us to the end of the interview. Thank you very much to Mr. Isarmi for sharing your time, insights, and also experience with me. And your
Okay.
response has been
Pleasure.
extremely helpful for this assignment. So I think there's nothing more for us to do. So I think that's all. Thank you.
All right. Good luck. Good night. Bye.